Hello.
Hello?
Hi there. What time would you like to schedule an appointment?
Let's do this Wednesday at 12 p.m.
Your appointment for this Wednesday at 12 p.m. has been successfully booked. If there's anything else you need, feel free to let me know.
Okay, let's end the call. And here we go. So Wednesday, 12 p.m. I'm going to show you how to set up your first AI caller that can book meetings into your Google Calendar. All right, so we're going to be using two tools today. First one is going to be VAPI, and second one is N8N. And there's a lot of tools out there for AI callers. You can use Lindy, there's one called Retail, Synthflow. Personally, I like VAPI the best because it's very modular. You can kind of plug in different components for each part of the caller. For example, you can use different AI voices. Maybe you want 11 labs, maybe you want to use a different provider. Same thing goes for the models. You can obviously swap out the models. And I also like how simple their tool integration is. So in this case, we're going to be using a tool for actually booking the appointments into Google Calendar, and VAPI makes it very easy for us to set that up. Now, another thing I want to make clear is that in this video, we're just going to build an MVP, right? I'm not going to show you how to do a bunch of crazy advanced features. I'm just going to show you how you can set up a caller that when you call it, it says, hey, what time do you want an appointment? You say the time, and it will pop up in your Google Calendar. The reason I'm doing it this way is because this is personally what I'm trying to do is I would just want to build an MVP so I can show potential clients that this actually works. Like, this is just a lesson that I've learned as I'm building my AI agency is just build an MVP. Don't worry about getting a bunch of crazy features. Show your MVP to somebody, and if they like it, then you continue to build on it. All right, so having said that, let's go into VAPI. You're gonna go to this page, Assistants, make a new assistant, and we're gonna choose a blank template. Now, like I said, I'm gonna do bare bones. So let's write the system prompt. We're gonna say, you are an appointment scheduler. Ask the user what time they want an appointment and use the book appointment tool to schedule an appointment at the specified time. All right, this is gonna be our system prompt. And you see here how I said use the book appointment tool. So we haven't actually created that yet, but I will show you how to do that right now. So you're gonna go to tools here, and you see we don't have any tools yet, so we're gonna hit create new tool. Go here, we're gonna use a custom tool, and we're gonna call this the book appointment tool. Now we're gonna put the description. We can just say this tool is for booking appointments in a Google Calendar based off of the provided time by the user. All right, then I'm gonna say this tool accepts the natural language text of the appointment time as a parameter. Examples, and I'm gonna explain why I put that in there in a second. But now I'm gonna give you some examples of what that was gonna look like. Okay, so why did I say the natural language text, right? Well, let's explain that. So a problem that I was having when I was first setting this up is that I found that the chat model, the LLM, didn't know what time it actually was. So when a person would say, like, let's do tomorrow at 5 p.m., for some reason, like ChatGPT just assumes that today is November 1st, 2023, which is not the current date. And also, if we're trying to build a system that is predictable and works the same way every time, we want to have some kind of standardized date format. So that's why when I'm building this automation, I want to build a module, a node that converts a natural language time expression into a standardized format. So we want natural language into a standard format, and we're gonna use ISO 8601. All right, so we're back in VAPI, and you can see we wrote our prompt for our book appointment tool. Now, we described what the tool does, but we actually have to build it now. So that's what we're gonna do in N8N. And I'm just gonna tell you exactly how to do it. So first off, you're gonna need a webhook node, okay? We're going to need an OpenAI node. So type in OpenAI, choose message a model. And the last thing is going to be a Google Calendar node, and it's going to be for create an event. Okay, so this is literally all you need. These three nodes, and we can get this up and running, like I said, in MVP. So for the webhook, we're going to change the path here. We're gonna call this book appointment because that's the name of our tool. And we're gonna change this to post. The reason it's post is because this endpoint is going to be receiving data, so we have to set it as post. Now, as I'm designing this, something I like to do is kind of test my nodes as I'm developing the automation, because that allows me to see what the data that VAPI sends us is going to look like. So I want to actually receive data from the VAPI call into my automation. And the way we're going to do that is that we're going to grab this URL here, our endpoint URL, and we're going to paste that down here where it says server URL. This is how VAPI knows to send a request to our automation, because we specify that this is the URL that we will be expecting to receive data from. I'm going to hit save. And now we can already do kind of a sample chat just so that we can trigger the endpoint to see what the data looks like. So I'm going to say, hi, it says, what time do you want to schedule? Let's do tomorrow at 5 p.m. Now in N8N, I want to make sure that we're listening for a test event. And now I'm going to send this message. Okay, it's not working, so let's do some troubleshooting. I want to make sure that it's using the tool. Okay, well, there's the issue. All right, so the issue was that I had not selected the book appointment tool that we created. So let's go back and test this again. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Okay, now you see it called the book appointment tool. And let's see if, okay, yep, we received our data in N8N. Now you see it's a lot of data, but there's just one part we have to look at, which is the tool calls. And you can see right here, look here, it says time tomorrow at 5 p.m. So it took that natural language time expression and it sent it to our automation. Now we want to take that and convert that into an ISO format, and that's going to allow us to create an event in our Google Calendar. All right, so now for our OpenAI node, the whole point of this is to, like I said, convert the natural language expression into a standardized format. So we're going to need a prompt for that. And I want to show you guys the best way to do this is, instead of you writing the prompt manually, let's just ask ChatGPT to create the prompt for us. Okay, so we're going to say, please write a prompt that converts a natural language time expression into ISO 8601 format. For example, an expression might be next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Okay, so it made us this very nice prompt that we are now going to copy and paste into N8N. So we paste it into N8N, and if you notice in the prompt, there's one part here which says reference now ISO. So this is there because the AI needs to know what time it currently is so that it can actually correctly process these expressions like next Tuesday or tomorrow, today, right? So to do that, we're going to change this. We're going to make an expression, and you can just do this expression that says now. Now you can see here, it says the date time, and it is the current moment in time right now. Now the other part we have to substitute here is the default time zone. I'm going to actually leave this hard-coded in. I'm going to put that as America/New York Eastern Time. All right, so this is the prompt, right? This is the system prompt. Now we actually want to provide the data. So I'm going to make this a system prompt, and then I'll add a second prompt, which is the user, and we'll say convert this time expression. And then we're just going to pull over the expression we had from VAPI. So if you look here, we're just going to drag this over here. Now it says convert this time expression tomorrow at 5 p.m. because that's the data that we got from the VAPI caller. Now we can test this step, and you can see the output here is 2025 9/29 at 1700 hours, which is tomorrow at 5 p.m. because today is the 28th. All right, final step here is to use the Google Calendar, and now we're just going to grab this date time we got for the appointment, put it right here, and it also asks for the end time. So to do this part, we can use this little expression here. We can make a new date based off of that ISO text, and then same thing here, and we can do dot plus 1 hour. So basically, we just want the ending of the meeting to be 1 hour from the start. So it's a 1 hour long meeting. Okay, so let's test it out. Let's hit execute step, and let's look here, see if it pops up. Okay, there it is. So we have meeting tomorrow at 5 p.m., just like we specified. So we've tested each node individually. Now let's actually make this active and see if it works in production. So the way we're gonna make this active is check this box here, and we're gonna have to change the URL that we used. So we were using the test URL. Let's switch to the production URL, copy that. So we're gonna go back to VAPI, go to tools, and we're gonna modify our server URL to put in the production URL. Let's save it, and now let's do an actual trial run.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi there. What time would you like to schedule an appointment?
Let's do this Wednesday at 12 p.m.
Your appointment for this Wednesday at 12 p.m. has been successfully booked. If there's anything else you need, feel free to let me know.
Okay, let's end the call. And here we go. So Wednesday, 12 p.m. All right, guys. So that is how you set up an AI caller that can actually create events in your Google Calendar. And you can see it was really simple, literally 3 nodes. Like there's all these guys on YouTube that show you these crazy workflows with 1 million nodes, make it super complicated. It doesn't have to be that complicated. Just build MVPs, minimum viable products, build something that works, and then show it to somebody and get your first client. That's what I believe.